Hello everyone, and welcome to another Saturday Night's Main Event video blog. Let's be honest, 2011 has been a pretty big year for weddings. We had Prince William and Kate Middleton, and just recently we had Kim Kardashian and that other guy that married Kim Kardashian. But the one thing about weddings is you always got to get dressed up. You always got to get dressed up for a wedding. But we don't have to this time because this Saturday night's main event is taking place in the ring. Well, this wedding. Crap. Anyway, it doesn't really matter what I said. So, Saturday night's main event. This episode aired on October the 5th, 1985, and was held in the Meadowlands in East Rutherford, New Jersey. So we kick things off with quick comments from Nikolai, Volkoff, Freddie Blassie, Hulk Hogan, and then Uncle Elmer and Hillbilly Jim regarding the wedding, and then Roddy Piper interrupts, which begins the opening show. So after the quick intro, we go to the first match, which is the WWE title match. Yay! First match is the title match. Nikolai Volkoff against Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan this time does not come out to Eye of the Tiger. He comes out to the Star Spangled Banner. And basically this is the USA versus the USSR. Really not much to talk about with this match. It's not really the best match. It's surprising that Nikolai even got some offense the way the beginning of this match went. But hey, he got offense, and match ends. Hogan leg drop 1, 2, 3. Hogan wins. After the match, he spits on the Soviet Union flag. Jesse Ventura gets upset. Blah blah blah. So we come back from commercial break. And Mean Gene talks to Hogan again after the match. And they talk about the upcoming wedding and how it's very different to have a wedding in a professional wrestling arena. But it's great to have it. So after that, we go back to the locker room where we see the bride-to-be, Joyce, getting ready for the wedding. And then we get an interview from Uncle Elmer, Cousin Junior, and Hillbilly Jim. Because Uncle Elmer has a match. Yes, Uncle Elmer has a match before the wedding. Can you believe it? So anyway, Uncle Elmer's nervous because he's got a match and he's getting married tonight. So Uncle Elmer's opponent in this match is Jerry Valiant, who was at one time a co-holder of the tag team titles. Basically, this is like the ultimate squash match. Uncle Elmer gets the win. They say that the time of the fall was 6 seconds, but according to the history of WWE.com, Hi Graham and, oh, by the way, speaking of weddings, I'm going to be sending you something real soon as a wedding gift from right here in College Park. Anyway, they say the fall was 6 seconds. According to the history of WWE.com, they say it's 12 seconds, so you can go either way. It really, doesn't matter. But after the match, they show King Kong Bundy's then record-setting win at WrestleMania. Wait. Why would you show the match of the previous record when the record just broke? Really? Really? So then, after that, we get another quick interview, and Uncle Elmer gets ready. Then we go to the body shop, the first and only body shop on Saturday night's main event, where the guest is Bobby the Brain Heenan, and Bobby Heenan says that he has now raised the bounty on the head of Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. Instead of it being $25,000, it is now $50,000 for anybody who can put Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff out of professional wrestling. So then we get a quick interview from Paul Orndorff talking about not only the bounty, but the match coming up against Roddy Piper. So Orndorff goes to the ring, and then Piper has an interview where he says, Heenan, you better give me the $50,000 when I put Paul Orndorff out. So Piper comes out with the bagpipes and the drums, go to break, we come back, we have the match, and this is the best match on the show. Yes, folks, I'm telling you the truth, this is the best match of the show. Not a lot of offense, this is just a fight. This match ends in a double count out, and then they go to the back, and Piper escapes. Orndorff tries to open the door, but he can't do it. And what's weird about this setting is, they got Orndorff and Piper, they're fighting back to the locker room. And they have like this little beam, and here's Jesse Ventura and Vince McMahon sitting above it. And they have to crawl under this beam just to get to the back. It's absolutely funny. So then after that, we get the wedding of Uncle Elmer and Joyce. And for the record, this is a legitimate wedding. This is a legit marriage. So here comes Joyce. We got Mean Gene Okerlund playing the organs, and Jesse Ventura said he looks like and plays like the Phantom of the Opera. Hillbilly Jim is the best man. Uncle Elmer is getting married. Cousin Junior is there. Andre the Giant, Hulk Hogan are there. Captain Lou Albano is there. And then this is where it gets funny but terrible at the same time. And I just want to say something for the record. I'm recording this on September the 9th, 2011. In a day and age where we complain about our commentators, mainly Michael Cole, Jerry Lawler, Booker T. Those guys fail in comparison to this because Jesse Ventura and Vince McMahon are commentating over the wedding. Over the wedding. And then some fan throws something and it hits the veil of Joyce. Jesse Ventura gets a laugh out of that. Ventura's laughing because Uncle Elmer is stuttering while he's speaking, saying his marriage vows. Ventura's trying to be, or McMahon's trying to be serious, saying how this is a wedding. And then Roddy Piper comes out and basically, objects to the wedding. He says, you stink, this stinks, the whole damn wedding stinks. And then he goes to the back, and then they're pronounced husband and wife. And then that's the end of the wedding. We have the reception yet to come. So after that, and the commentary of McMahon and Ventura. Why are you commentating over a wedding? Anyway, we go back. Mean Gene is talking to King Kong Bundy, Big John Studd, and Bobby Heenan. They have a tag team match. After the interview, they go to a break, come back. It's Andre the Giant and Tony Atlas against King Kong Bundy and Big John Studd. Let me tell you how this match begins. Andre and Bundy are in the ring. Andre grabs the singlet of King Kong Bundy and chokes him for 1 whole minute. I'm not kidding. He chokes him for a full minute. Match ends when Bundy and Studd are disqualified for double teaming Andre the Giant, and Hulk Hogan comes out, saves Andre, because Tony Atlas was beaten up, so, Tony Atlas isn't going to Atlas up and make the save. So Studd and Bundy lose. Andre the Giant, Tony Atlas winners by disqualification. And then we come back from a break, and Hogan and Andre are thinking about challenging Bundy and Studd to a tag match. Meanwhile, we go back into the reception room where everything's ready for the wedding, and there are pigs there, and Ventura makes this comment about how, some of Uncle Elmer's relatives have arrived. So then we go back into the locker room, Mean Gene Okerlund interviewing the new tag team champions, Brutus Beefcake and Greg Valentine, Johnny Valiant there. They have a title defense against Leaping Lanny Poffo and Tony Gurria. And then during the interview, they showed the highlight of the match where Valentine and Beefcake won the belts. pardon me, against Barry Windham and Mike Rotundo. So we come back from break, and here is Barry Windham and Mike Rotundo sitting at ringside. Now I want you to remember this. Barry Windham has an eye patch on. I want you to remember that. First camera shot we see of Rotundo and Windham. Eye patch. So we go on to the match, and Poffo gets beat up for a little bit, but he does make a couple of nice offensive moves. Tags Gurria, and we go back to Windham and Rotundo, and Windham doesn't have an eye patch on. Barry Windham does not have an eye patch on. Seriously, you're trying to sell the fact that they lost the belts, Windham with his eye hurt. What the hell? Anyway, Valentine gets the win, puts the figure 4 on Tony Gurria. Beefcake and Valentine state champs. Now, one thing I forgot to mention, and I want to go back a little bit, is we have a special segment on George the Animal Steel. Because apparently he's been missing. Why didn't anybody call protective services or call the police? So Mean Gene finds him in the Detroit Zoo, go through animals, and George Steele is fine. So now let's go to the reception. Mean Gene is there first, saying how it looks nice. And then we go to the table. Vince McMahon, Jesse the Body Ventura are sitting with Hulk Hogan and Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. So while Hulk Hogan is being asked about the wedding by Vince McMahon, Jesse Ventura is writing a poem. Wonder what this could be for. So then we go to Mean Gene, who is standing over Cousin Jr. and Captain Lou Albano in the most disturbing interview maybe in the history of history. And Lou Albano explains to Gene that he's teaching Cousin Jr. eating etiquette and how he should only eat with his left hand. Eat with your left hand, put the food in the left hand, eat with the left hand, keep the right hand clean. Oh boy. Oh boy. Wow. And then we get Leaping Lanny Poffo, the poet laureate of professional wrestling, who does a very nice poem for Uncle Elmer and Joyce. You know, it's a nice little poem. And then Hillbilly Jim, best man, gives a toast to the bride and groom. Now, I do want to mention that this is only the second network wedding in the history of television at the time. The first one was Tiny Tim and Miss Vicky on the Johnny Carson show in the 1960s. And, oh, look! Tiny Tim is at the wedding! Tiny Tim is at the wedding reception. So then, Tiny Tim, of all people, gives wedding advice to Uncle Elmer and Joyce. Yeah, I go to Tiny Tim for my wedding advice. So anyway, he gives them a gift of his ukulele. Of course, it looks a little bit taped up because it looks like there's scotch tape on his ukulele. Now, on the DVD of this, it edits out Uncle Elmer singing to Joyce. The song is Walk Through This World With Me by George Jones. So this gets edited out, which sucks. Because I actually wanted to see Uncle Elmer sing. Would have been funny. So then Jesse Ventura comes up, and he reads a poem. Starts out nice, and then he goes into this whole rant about how it shouldn't be done in a wrestling ring, and blah, blah, blah. So Hogan and Orndorff get upset, and then Hillbilly Jim gets up. Hillbilly Jim trips Ventura, and Ventura goes into the wedding cake. 2 times! This is the second Saturday Night's Main Event where somebody's gone into cake. Ah, boy. So after that, we come back, and it is announced that on the next episode of Saturday Night's Main Event, Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant will team up to face Big John Studd and King Kong Bundy in 4 weeks. So we get a quick promo from Hulk Hogan talking about the match. And then we end the show. Vince McMahon signs off for everybody, and we see Joyce and Uncle Elmer dancing. And then we see Hillbilly Jim and apparently the Maid of Honor dancing. And then we see Captain Lou Albano and Cousin Junior dancing with each other? Okay. And this dancing is very weird. Albano's doing his, and the uncle or Cousin Junior's doing his type of dancing. And any females want to get in on this? Anybody? Moolah there? Cyndi Lauper still there? Anybody? Apparently not. And thus ends that edition of Saturday night's main event. So what did I think of it? Match-wise, it sucked. There's only one good match on there, and that's Paul Orndorff and Roddy Piper. All the other matches sucked. And that's saying something with Beefcake and Valentine. But all of them, except for Orndorff and Piper, were terrible matches. The only reason this episode of Saturday Night's Main Event is remembered is because of the wedding of Uncle Elmer and Joyce. And like I said, and I did some research, this was a legitimate wedding. So Uncle Elmer and Joyce were married for, I believe, 6.5 years before Uncle Elmer passed away in 92. So, and that's that. So on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the best and 1 being the lowest, I'm going to give the second episode of Saturday Night's Main Event a 4. And I'm only being generous, only because of the wedding. The reception really saves everything. Ventura and McMahon commentate over the damn wedding, which has been advertised. Way to go, guys. The wrestling's not that good. But, what can you say? Not all Saturday Night's Main Events can be good. So the next time I review Saturday Night's Main Event, it will be a Halloween episode of Saturday Night's Main Event. That's right, a Halloween edition of Saturday Night's Main Event, which aired on November 2nd. Yeah, you know how Simpsons air their Halloween episodes in November now? This was the precursor. Anyway, this episode got a TV rating of 8.3. The second episode of Saturday Night's Main Event. And like I said, the next episode, I'll be reviewing the Halloween episode of Saturday Night's Main Event.